Hi everybody, welcome back to FALLOWE'EN. And today I'm going to talk about two of my favorite short stories. The first is the Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins Gilman, and the other is The Husband Stitch by Carmen Maria Machado. I chose them because they're part of that, obviously they're part of the NPR's 100 Great Stories, but also because they do have some similarities. And even though they were published over 100 years apart, the more things change, the more they stay the same, right? So, The Yellow Wallpaper is just one of the great creepy stories of all time, I think. I think every horror fan needs to read it. It was published in 1890, and it's about a woman who goes for a rest cure at a creepy old mansion that her husband has rented for 3 months. And what the rest cure was in Victorian times was if you were suffering from depression as a woman, your male doctors would tell you, oh, you just need to lie down. You know, like the dog, go lie down. Just lie down and do nothing. Excuse me. So, of course, so our protagonist, she goes and takes the rest cure, and she's allowed to kind of wander around the house, but most of the time she's locked up in this bedroom where, you know, there's this, all she has to look at is this ugly, ugly yellow wallpaper. And she starts to see things in the wallpaper, which I don't know if you know anything about depression or mental illness, but if you spend enough time staring at something and you're not feeling well, then yeah, you're going to start to see things in it. So it starts to go on, and it's just so creepy. Eventually she just basically loses her mind, what she had left of it, right? So it's a good study of mental illness and of how ineffective that whole rest cure was back in the day. And Charlotte Perkins Gilman suffered from postpartum depression in 1885, and she was a patient of the original rest cure doctor. His name was Silas Weir Mitchell, and she wrote this story as a response to him and said, you know, look at what it can do to you. I have no idea if he responded, but that was her purpose, or some of it, in publishing the story. Now, the second story is The Husband Stitch by Carmen Maria Machado, and it was published in Granta magazine, October 2014. You can find both the stories online. I'll give you the links in the description. It's a reimagining of The Green Ribbon, which is a story. It's French, but it's of unknown origin. Most of you probably read the book as a kid. I think there was one of those scary stories to tell in the dark. The story is this girl meets a boy, and she's got a green ribbon around her neck, and he's allowed to have anything he wants. He just can't have that. He can never take the ribbon off. They go through their whole lives, and they grow up, and they get married, and but eventually she's dying, and she says, okay, you can take off the ribbon, and then he takes off the ribbon, and her head falls off. Now, I don't know about you, but I can never ever see a woman wearing a choker and not think it's holding her head on. But this story scarred a lot of us as kids. So Machado's story is told in the first person, and it's about a young woman who falls in love with a boy, and she gives him everything he asks, but she won't let him touch the ribbon. And it's because it's hers. It's the one thing that belongs to her. And The Husband Stitch uses a lot of, it refers to a lot of urban legends and the way that stories create sort of a body of experience for a lot of us, especially as women. And it's really, really, it's sad, and it's grotesque, and it's horrifying, and it's just really well written. One of my all-time favorites. And I think that, again, they have a lot of things in common. They both use color as a theme and a motif. And in the Victorian times, colored wallpaper was full of arsenic. So there's entirely a possibility that this woman's unwellness was because of sniffing the arsenic. And green has long been associated with sickness, and a lot of the things that in Victorian times were very bad for you were made with arsenic, and they were green, like they were this really powerful, brightly colored green. And even the idea of a rest cure, a lot of people would go away from their houses and they'd feel better, and they thought it was, they were getting out into the fresh air, that must be what's causing it, but no, they were actually just getting away from the arsenic. And so both metaphorically and literally, these women are, I guess, controlled by the intentions of the men around them. And it's about how even the best of intentioned men gaslight women, make them think they're crazy, and that can cause real harm, both mentally and physically. And if you know what the husband stitch is, that's particularly horrifying. So I highly recommend both stories. Again, I'll put the links in the description below, and I hope you're having a great Halloween, and I hope you're reading lots and lots of horror this month. Have a great day.